This is going to be my tutorial for the padiddle. The first thing you want to have down solid is the pirouette. Notice how my hand opened up so that it doesn't collide against the webbing. If you don't know how to do a basic pirouette yet, I'll link you to a video in which Dave Buck teaches it for free. Have this move down really well before trying this. Also, this is how you start the padiddle. The first thing I want you to do is to do a pirouette and start turning your hand in the same direction at a medium pace, not too fast and not too slow. So if it's going clockwise, you're gonna go clockwise. I used to think that you have to be off-centered a little bit, because for some reason I thought that since it wobbled a lot, they were doing it from like a little bit more off than the center. And it just didn't make sense to me that if you put your finger on the center of the card, you're gonna be able to turn it. But in reality, that is the best way to do the padiddle, is to put this in the dead center. And the longer you keep it in the center, the longer your padiddle will be. So put your finger in the dead center, just like a pirouette. Another thing is that I used to think the padiddle would be longer if I do the pirouette, let it spin for a while, and then start turning, because it'll be like two moves right after each other and it'll be longer. But you need to start turning as fast as possible. Like, start turning your hand immediately, and also maybe a split second after, let the spin start and then start turning. So like a split second after or immediately. So do not keep your hand still and then turn. That's not gonna work. The spin needs to be pretty fast. It's better if it's faster than slower. Obviously not super fast, because it's gonna shoot right off of your hand if you start it this fast. But pretty fast is the speed that you want to start it at. Anyway, for now though, just move your hand in a circular motion, slower than the card is spinning. Obviously, you're not going to be able to spin at that many revolutions per minute, but anyway, I guarantee you'll feel when you're turning it, and you'll feel when you're not. One annoying thing that happens is when you do the pirouette to start this move, sometimes it's so perfect that even if you move your hand in a circular motion, the card will not get boosted. It'll just keep spinning perfectly, even if you turn your hand, so it'll slow down as if your hand was just still the whole time. You can feel when that happens. So if your pirouette is not being turned by your hand, then what you want to do when you're practicing is stop it immediately and give it another go. There's no point to trying to turn something that won't turn. The bow, if it's down, so if it's like this and your finger's here, it's easier than if it's like this and you're trying to spin it. Same with this side, it's easier like this than like this. Yeah, sometimes the catch is so strong that you accidentally curve the card in the direction you don't want. It's simple, just pop it back. You want to pop this card to the curve that you want before trying this. Just because I said that the move is easier done with a bow like this, and that's exaggerated. You can barely see it on this card. That does not mean go ahead and crimp your card. It's very, very hard to padiddle with a card that's crimped. Although you would think that it'll help you because it's harder for the card to fall off of your finger. It's not gonna work the way you think. I've tried this. If it's sticky, that's pretty good. I mean, you don't want too much moisture because it'll slip off, but you don't want too little because it'll slip off. Like when I used to try this move, like the book says that you could lick your finger and then do it, but my card would slide off because that was too much moisture. So sometimes I find myself having to dry my finger before trying this move. If you live in something like California and it's dry, then you are gonna have to lick your finger most likely. It doesn't really matter which card you try at first. I just want you to get used to how it feels when you're actually boosting it. I guarantee you'll know when you're boosting it and when you're not. So once you know what it feels like to boost it, put your hand in the dead center, go like this, and then start turning your hand and find which pace of your hand going like this keeps it up the longest. I move my whole arm from like my shoulder joint all the way at my shoulder. Also, when you're practicing this move, you want to lean forward and not slouch back. It's easier when you're leaning forward and you need to have a table here. You can pick it up faster if it's on the table. You don't want to sit on a couch, lean forward, have it fall on the floor, and have to pick it up on the floor every time. So this is a good way to practice on a table like this. This table is up to my waist, a bit higher. Maybe you don't want to sit at a kitchen table where your arm is going to have to be higher. You want kind of like a coffee table. If the card is sticky, you can do it from any position, but usually this tip of the finger is the best part to do it. The tip, you don't want to have it flat. You don't want to do it with the flat part. So when I do this, as it's spinning, I make my finger like this perpendicular to the card as I'm spinning it. Kind of like a basketball. You know how your finger's sticking straight up? Not like this with the whole hand like a basketball, but from this joint. Like the joint that is pointing up is pointing straight up. The hand stays palm up. I don't know what else to say. The rest is just practice. You need to find which pace is the best pace and just keep doing that over and over again. I noticed that when I get the best ones, the hand motion is not very big. It's not like this. It's like this. So it's very small circular motions. So once a card goes off center, I don't really have any tips for how to bring it back to center, or I don't even know if that's even possible. I'm sure it is because people can hold this for a long time. Either that, they either can recover, or they just keep it in the center the whole time. They learn to keep their finger around the center the whole time. I'm not sure, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's key to keep it in the center as long as possible. Once you notice it starts going off the center, that's when you want to catch it, because that's when it's about to fall. If you notice that the card starts to slow down, the only way to accelerate it again is to speed your hand up. So these motions that I'm making, I had to make them faster, like that. Let's see, oh, there you go. Oh, that was cool. It like slowed down and then sped up again. But don't try to start slow and then spin it faster. So maybe when you're more advanced, you want to try to accelerate. But when you're a beginner, you want to start fast and continue fast, not start slow and accelerate it too fast, if that makes any sense. Sometimes when I start spinning it with this part of the finger, the side of the nail here, it gets a better start. But you want to, after you start it good here, you might want to move it back to this position. If your hand's getting too tired, you want to start with the whole hand moving. Pirouette, you just need to kick your fingers back and hold your fingers still. But for this move, if you start by actually swinging your hand out, it might make it easier. This is very addictive to practice, and you might get tired, so to get that boost, you can flick your hand out and start the spin by spinning your whole hand. See, that was pretty good. What you need to do with a knacky move like this is just let your hands figure it out. If you find it difficult to start it with your fingers straight up, then start it flat first and then move it straight up. But if you find the right moisture, then you can get really good ones if you start with the fingers straight up. But if you know what you're doing, the finger position doesn't matter as much as I'm saying. You can do it flat, do it on the side, etc. This move, I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but it hasn't been like very dedicated practice. Lately, I've been doing it at least once a day for a good session, you know, until I get a good one. Like if I did something like that, then I would stop. This move is really addictive, so it's not going to be boring to practice. Other than that, I'm sure if you practice what I told you in this video and you just keep practicing every day, you'll be able to control it forever, as long as you want, like the pros.